It was their theory that the young man was a white slaver, who by means of a hypodermic injection had sought to render a victim insensible, probably having waiting outside a cab to which he, explaining that he was her companion, would carry her. There were marks upon Mrs. Graff's arm, but it seems that they were not made by a darning needle. With the idea that the needle might be tipped with a drug, the police sent it to a chemist. To my astonishment, I record that he reported that he had found neither drug nor poison on it. A strange circumstance is that, at this place, where a woman was wounded somewhat as if by a darning needle, was found this darning needle which was suggestive of a commonplace explanation. Then arose the story that a gang of white slavers was operating in the city. But in the newspapers were published interviews with physicians who stated that they knew of no drug by which women could be affected so as to make them easily abductable, because the pain of an injection would give minutes of warning before a victim could be rendered helpless. But it may be that something or somebody was abroad, mysteriously wounding women. In the Brooklyn Eagle, December 6th, it was said that in a period of 2 weeks, the Committee of 14 of New York City had heard a dozen complaints of mysterious minor attacks upon women, and had investigated, but had been unable to learn anything definite in any case. See back to the story of the Chicago woman and marks of 2 small incisors. Upon Mrs. Graff's arm were 2 little punctures. December 29th, a girl named Marion Brindle said that something had stung her. Upon her arm were 2 little punctures. It may be that in the period of the scare in New York City, the first occurrence of which was in November 1913, a vampire was abroad. It could be that we pick up the trail more than a year before this time. In October 1912, Miss Jean Milne, aged 67, was living alone in her home in West Ferry, Dundee, Scotland. London Times, November 5th, 1912, the finding of her body. The woman had been beaten, presumably with a poker, which was found, according to the account in the Times. But it was said that, though she had been struck on the head, her skull was not fractured, so her death was not altogether accounted for. There was more to this story in the London Weekly Dispatch, November 24th, 1912. Upon this body were found perforations, as if having been made by a fork. Late at night, February 2nd, 1913, the bottom of a woman was found on the tracks of the London Underground Railway, near the Kensington High Street station. The body had been run over and the head had been cut off. The body was identified as that of Miss Maud Frances Davies, who alone had been traveling around the world, and earlier in the day had, upon a ship train, arrived in London. She had friends and relatives in South Kensington, and presumably was on her way to visit them. But the explanation at the inquest, London Times, February 6, 1913, was that she had probably committed suicide by placing her neck upon a rail. Dr. Townsend said that over the heart he found a number of small punctured wounds, over a dozen of which had penetrated the muscles, and one had entered the ventricle cavity of the heart. These punctures had been caused in life with a sharp instrument, such as a hat pin. They were not enough to cause death, but had been made a few hours previously. Upon December 29th of this year, 1913, a woman, known as Scotch Dolly, was found dead in her room, 18 Eltham Street, southeast London. A man who had lived with her was arrested, but was released, because he was able to show that, before the time of her death, he had left the woman. Her face was bruised, but she had seldom been sober, and the man, Williams, before leaving her, had struck her. The verdict was that she had died of heart failure from shock. Upon one of this woman's legs was found a series of 38 little double wounds. They were not explained. The coroner, "Have you ever had a similar case yourself?" Dr. Spilsbury, "No, not exactly like this."